Hey, it's Chris Spire.
Chris Bowling.
Hey, CB.
How are you, man?
Doing well, doing well. We are in part two of our series of topical things impacting the C-suite today. Who are we talking about, or what role are we talking about today?
We are talking about the role of CEO, that person that sits at that high level that's looking far out, and they are dealing with, I think, some of the most challenging decisions we've seen that CEO make in probably the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, a lot of the COVID stuff, sort of was CEO, it was, quick, this is what we got to do. And then it all came down into that HR role as to how are we going to handle this. But I think what we're facing with today is so challenging. And, you and I were just talking about this. Is this going to last 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years?
Right.
And that's where I'm hearing from our clients that are in that role. They need some guidance and they need those longer term strategies. How about you?
I would agree. It's, the pace of change in 2022 has been so great. So many different factors have come into play to escalate wages, to, reduce the availability of employees to come to work. Inflation, we haven't even yet seen what healthcare inflation is going to be because, so many of those provider contracts are multi-year and we haven't seen that renegotiation in 2022's inflation numbers. But I think that CEO role is challenged to have a longer term strategy, like you said, but also have multiple levers to pull when something comes out of the blue, like we're seeing this year.
Yeah.
Something hits hard and they have to make a drastic change. How do we do it without totally gutting the profitability and our employee count, but at the same time, make sure that they can withstand those changes so that they will be successful coming out of it. We're seeing so many employers right now that are, specifically in certain segments, and this is national, that are laying off workforce right now as we speak because they didn't plan and anticipate a market change in their certain segment. And that might happen to some of our clients. It might happen to some of our local businesses, but that CEO role is really looking, how do we withstand this and come out stronger in 2024 and 2025 and still be ready to adapt?
Yeah. It's that longer strategy concept, which you and I have talked about for so long, could not be more important today, right? It's what, yes, they do want to know what's that 23 look like, but it's the 3 year, right? It's what do we do today? And I think you said this best is we're not hearing yet, let's cut benefits, let's slash, things that we don't need, but it's what can we do today that can help us in 23. And then how do we put some energy behind that can also roll into 24. So
yes.
You and I had talked a lot about in 2020 and 2021, it was just renew. Let's just get through this.
COVID was so big that we had to just get through everything else.
And now we are paying for that, right? We didn't implement this because our employees were going through so much change with COVID, and now it's scramble. Let's start thinking about the things that we have been talking about way back in 2019.
Yes.
That we then delayed in 20 and then delayed in 21 and 22. I think you and I saw some creativity come back into play, that we've been talking about. Man, 23 is going to be, I believe, the year of change. It's going to be, how do we get control of this thing? We were just trying to control our business and not control our people, but help our employees get through this. And now the refocus from that CEO role is looking out. Yes, I think those were the right decisions, but we cannot just put this on the easy button,
Right. And you and I have gone through some difficult renewals this year. We've had some really challenging ones with a lot of increased cost and some shock claims and things like that. But I've been encouraged that some of our best performing clients, the CEO is leading that conversation with their team on what decisions do we make from a benefit strategy. And then we've had a few where the CEO is delivering the message to the employees.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing. And I really enjoy that when you and I can have that interaction with the CEO, the CFO, and the HR director. I think that's changed in the last 3 to 4 years, where it used to just be HR, or maybe it was just the CFO. Now all three of those roles, and the best ones, the CEO is leading those conversations.
Well said. Yes. It's funny because I didn't even think about that until you just mentioned it. But yes, I can tell you that we just did a round of employee meetings, and they weren't open enrollment meetings. They were, consumerism, education.
Yes.
And you're right. I never thought about how the CEO was the one that kicked off those meetings of, hey, this is why we're focusing on this. This is why it's important. And then it was bringing all of us to start talking about, okay, execution,
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Let them lead, let them be the voice for the company, and then, have a tactical team to implement all those things. But I still say that role is going to see challenges, but forward looking, a good CEO is going to, identify that longer strategy and find ways we can, again, adjust as stuff comes quickly, but not lose sight of what that goal is when things get back to whatever we would consider to be normal again. I don't even know what the definition is.
Right.
Changing every few months.
Once again, we are looking for feedback. We want to
Yes.
learn. We want to hear from, the C-suite. What are you guys doing? What are you seeing? How are you preparing for, once again, another unknown foreseeable future? So give us your thoughts. We're all here to learn together. We're all here to work together. And we appreciate everyone listening today.
Perfect. Thanks so much, CB.
Thank you.